Gaming Masterpieces presents Panzer Dragoon Saga, aka Azel Panzer Dragoon RPG. Have you ever experienced something, whether a book, film, or song, that struck you as something special, something you instantly felt almost compelled to share with as many people as possible? Well, that was my reaction to playing Panzer Dragoon Saga back when it quietly released in the USA in 1998 as the Sega Saturn swan song. And what a spectacular note for the console that was retired too soon to end on. The first word that comes to mind when describing Panzer Dragoon Saga, aka Azel Panzer Dragoon RPG, is unique and fully realized. Everything about Azel is, even more so than its predecessors and lone Xbox sequel Orta. This is partly due to the fact that the other Panzers were rail shooters. This is in fact an RPG. The genre shift allows for more natural exposition to unfold, which means more locales, more details, and more fleshing out of characters and developer ambitions. Speaking of which, the earlier Saturn Panzers had already boasted an impressively intricate plot for arcade-style shooters, but there's no contest. Azel ups the ante and the atmosphere in every way, with some of the finest spoken dialogue ever recorded, accompanied by English subtitles, thankfully. This is all great, I'm sure, but what exactly makes Azel a gaming masterpiece? Let's look into it. As an RPG, Azel is almost in a class by itself. When it was released, RPGs still had a stigma among many Western players as games that were too long, dull, and slow. If only more of those same players had access to Azel. This game was unapologetically different from the pack, and made the most of it. The battle system, while simple to grasp, is difficult to master, and learning how to get the best rank on some of the monsters encountered becomes a big part of the fun. In fact, the ranking system is a genius method of encouraging skill building, as the amount of experience and currency, and quality of items you receive, is directly tied to how well you perform in combat. For a game that essentially arms you with just two primary weapons, the main protagonist's gun and his dragon's laser, and no additional party members, the action remains surprisingly engaging throughout. Graphically, the game was one among several that demonstrated in the right hands, the Saturn was just as capable as its competitors of throwing out impressive 3D visuals, the dragon's real-time morphing effect being particularly noteworthy, and the score, like any memorable soundtrack, adds layers of immersion to the experience from open to climax. Seriously, just tune me out for a moment and listen. Another aspect worth mentioning is the fan service present. Team Andromeda set the bar high here. It's not easy to craft a work of fiction that successfully manages to resonate strongly with newcomers, while also including a bevy of surprises, inside jokes, and other Easter eggs for series faithfuls. To compare, Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, is jam-packed with its share of fan nods, but the overall experience is not as balanced as something like Azel. Opinions will vary, but for someone who has seen only a few of the Star Wars films, and none more than once, it felt as if I would have enjoyed The Force Awakens much more had I known more backstory going in. Still an entertaining film without a doubt, but several moments lacked as much punch as they were clearly meant to carry, to say nothing of the hidden layers of ha-ha that went straight over my head. That's not to say some moments in Azel won't leave many new to the world so carefully constructed in its universe clueless, or downright oblivious to the greater implications, but it doesn't take you out of the action. The drama, which I'm avoiding discussing to steer clear of spoilers, remains compelling, and the plot never seems as if its relevance or impact is riding solely on the player's ability to remember the names, faces, or circumstances behind past events. That having been said, if you haven't played a Panzer Dragoon before, I strongly encourage you to play them chronologically, as it will definitely heighten your level of enjoyment and immersion with Azel. While everyone won't feel the same about the surprise ending, there's no denying the strength of the narrative that unfolds from start to finish. The fact that this saga manages to tell its tale while avoiding many tropes and cliches common to the genre doesn't hurt either. And did I mention how well done the dialogue is? Both the actual script as well as the voice acting is phenomenal. Grounded, not overly preachy or pretentious, sometimes shocking, shades of philosophical, spiritual, and occasionally genuinely hilarious. Again, we're talking about a video game. No matter how gripping a story it may have, a great game must come through in the gameplay department in order to qualify, in my mind at least, as an objective masterpiece of the medium. And undoubtedly, Azel shines here. While technically an RPG, it is just as much of an adventure game at heart, and the pace of the action often demands the same degree of quick thinking and twitch reflexes as any intense action title. For those who think RPGs are too slow, try Azel. While I personally still find the game's visual art style and effects impressive, there's no denying it does show its age as a 1998 Sega Saturn release. You know, before most developers were really comfortable pushing polys. If ever there was a game worthy of a proper HD remake, this is it. And that's it for this edition of Gaming Masterpieces. Thanks for watching, take care, and hopefully, see you soon. Peace.